You are about to make a terrible decision. I can almost guarantee it. Not today, maybe not tomorrow, but soon. Someone will insult you. A plan will fall apart. You will get that email, that look, that rejection. And in that moment, your emotions will hijack you. Your heart will race. Your face will flush. And you will react. You will say the thing you cannot take back. You will make the impulsive move that costs you everything. You will hand over your power, your peace, your position in a single, heated second. But what if you did not? What if you could see the emotional trap and simply step around it? What if you could never be bothered again? That power is not a modern self-help trick. It is an ancient and ruthless form of warfare, psychological warfare. 500 years ago, a disgraced Italian diplomat, exiled to a tiny farmhouse, wrote the ultimate manual for it. His name was Niccolò Machiavelli, and his infamous book, The Prince, is not just about ruthless politics. It is a masterclass in emotional control and strategic patience. It teaches you how to stop reacting like a pawn and start thinking like a general in your own life. Today, we are going to steal his playbook. First, we must destroy a huge myth. Machiavellian does not mean evil, not in the way we think. It means effective. It means seeing the world as it is, not as we wish it to be. In Machiavelli's world and in ours, people are driven by self-interest, fear, and desire. Emotions are the currency of manipulation. If you are ruled by your own emotions, you are predictable. You are controllable. You are weak. So the first principle is this: separate your feeling from your functioning. Your internal world must become a private fortress. Think of it like this: you are the ruler of your own mind. Your emotions are your advisors. Some, like fear, shout warnings. Others, like anger, demand immediate action. Some, like the desire for approval, give terrible, sweet-talking advice. A weak ruler lets the loudest advisor make the decisions. They panic because fear shouts. They start fights because anger demands it. A strategic ruler listens to all the advisors. They hear them, they feel them. But then they retire to their private chamber to think. The decision is theirs alone. The emotions inform, but they do not command. This is where most people fail. They take things personally. An insult is a dagger to the heart. A criticism is a verdict on their soul. A competitor's success feels like a personal failure. Machiavelli would call this suicidal. He observed that men are so simple, so governed by immediate appetites, that a deceiver will always find someone ready to be deceived. If you are ruled by personal feeling, you are that someone. You are the simple man. So rule number 1, stop taking things personally. It is never personal. It is always transactional. Let us apply this right now. Imagine someone at work takes credit for your idea. The emotional reaction is rage, betrayal, a feeling of invisibility. You want to confront them, to scream, to prove your point. That is your advisor anger banging on the throne. The strategic ruler feels that sting, that heat. They acknowledge it. But then they think, what is the goal? Is it to feel righteous or to win? Confronting them publicly might make you look unstable. It might create a powerful enemy. So you pause. You do not react. You smile. You say nothing. You now have information. You know this person is not trustworthy. You know you must document your work. You have turned an emotional injury into strategic intelligence. You were not bothered. You were educated. This pause is your superpower. Machiavelli wrote constantly about timing. He said the wise man does at the right time what the fool does in the wrong time. That space between the trigger and your response, that is your kingdom. That is where power is built. When you feel that surge, your job is not to act. Your job is to create distance. Physically, if you have to, leave the room, say you need a moment. The strategic move is almost never the first move. It is the second or the third. Let the fool make the first move. Let them reveal their hand while yours remains closed. How do you build this muscle? It starts with a brutal audit of your vulnerabilities. What are your emotional triggers? Is it when someone questions your intelligence? Is it when you feel disrespected? Is it a fear of being overlooked? You must know these. Write them down. These are the gates to your fortress. This is where enemies and life will apply pressure. Once you know them, you can guard them. When you feel that familiar heat, that is your alarm bell. That is the signal not to charge, but to retreat and think. Ah, they are targeting my need for respect. Interesting. Now, what do I do about that? Now we move to the art of appearance. Machiavelli said it is necessary to be a great pretender and dissembler. People judge by what they see. They will poke and prod to see your real reaction. Your face, your body, your tone are all tools. Practice neutrality. A flat, calm, slightly amused expression is a shield. It disarms the provocateur. They want the reaction. They need the drama. When you deny them that, you drain their power. Your calmness becomes a mirror, showing them their own childishness. This is not about being fake. It is about protecting your inner state. Let us get more tactical. You must reframe every emotional event as a game, a chess game. In chess, you do not get angry when your opponent takes your pawn. That is the game. You do not take it personally. You assess the new board. You look for your next move. Someone yells at you. That is them moving a piece. Your emotional reaction is you knocking over the board and storming off. You lose. The strategic move is to look at the board. Why did they move that piece? What are they trying to get me to do? What is their weakness now? This reframe turns stress into curiosity. It turns panic into analysis. This brings us to a core Machiavellian concept. Fortuna. Fortune. He saw fortune as a raging river. Sometimes it is calm and helps you. Sometimes it floods and destroys everything. You cannot control the river, but you can build dams and canals. You can learn to swim. You can read the weather. Your emotions are your inner river of fortune. You cannot stop the initial flood of feeling, but you can build dams of pause. You can dig canals of perspective. The person swept away by their own emotional river is a victim. The strategist uses that same water to turn a mill, to generate power. So what do you do with all that emotional energy you are not spending on reactions? You channel it. This is critical. Restraint is not repression. You are not stuffing feelings down to explode later. You are transmuting them. The energy of anger becomes fuel for focused, relentless work on your own goals. The sting of envy becomes a precise map of what you truly want. The ache of disappointment becomes the ruthless pruning of unrealistic expectations. Your emotions become intelligence, not instructions. You are no longer a reactor. You are an alchemist. Consider the ultimate test: betrayal, or what feels like betrayal. A friend lets you down. A partner is disloyal. A business partner cuts you out. The emotional response is nuclear. It is a collapse of trust, a desire for vengeance or despair. The Machiavellian view is colder, clearer. He advised that men must be either caressed or crushed, because they will avenge small injuries but cannot avenge severe ones. The lesson is not to crush everyone. It is about proportional, decisive response, not emotional revenge. Revenge is hot, messy, and often hurts you more. The strategic response to betrayal is to calculate, not retaliate. First, understand why it happened. Was it their nature? Were your incentives misaligned? Did you show a weakness that invited this? This is not about blaming yourself. It is forensic analysis. Then decide on a response that serves your long-term interest. Sometimes the most powerful response is complete, silent removal, cutting them out without drama, without explanation. That is a crushing dismissal. Sometimes it is a measured legal countermove, but the response is always a choice, not a reflex. You are not bothered, you are busy. This philosophy extends to success. Praise is just as dangerous as criticism, maybe more. Machiavelli warned that flattery is a weapon. When people praise you, they are often trying to shape you, to make you soft. If you become addicted to praise, you will start making decisions to get more of it, not to do what is right. Your ego becomes the advisor in charge. The strategic mind accepts praise with the same polite neutrality as criticism. Thank you, and then forgets it. External validation cannot be your compass. Let us build a daily practice. Start small. Today, when you feel a minor irritation, practice the pause. Your coffee is wrong. The traffic is bad. Someone is slow. Feel the frustration rise, and then consciously decide not to react. Do not sigh heavily. Do not complain. Just observe the feeling like a scientist. Note it. Irritation level 4. Interesting, and let it pass. You are building the muscle of detachment. You are proving the feeling does not have to dictate action. It is just weather in your mind. It will pass. Next, practice strategic ambiguity. Do not reveal your position immediately. When asked a probing question, especially in conflict, you can say, "That is an interesting point. Let me think about that." Or, "I need to consider the implications." This is not lying. This is buying time. It stops you from being pinned down by a first, emotional answer. It makes you seem thoughtful and in control. People cannot pressure you if you do not give them a handle to grab. Your silence becomes a wall. Another practice is to study human nature. Watch people, not judgmentally but analytically. Watch how they react when stressed, when flattered, when challenged. See the patterns. You will start to see how predictable emotional people are. You will see the man who puffs up with pride when praised and then makes a mistake. You will see the woman who decides in anger and regrets it. Watch them like case studies. This gives you data, and it shows you what you do not want to be. You learn from their losses. Now, a vital warning. This control can feel cold. It can become toxic if you lose your humanity. The goal is not to become a robot. It is to become a ruler. A good ruler cares for their kingdom. Your emotions are part of that kingdom. You must tend to them in private. Write in a journal, talk to a trusted person. Process your feelings away from the battlefield. This is maintenance. If you neglect this, the walls crack. Control is not about having no feelings. It is about choosing where and when to feel them. Think about the power this gives you. In negotiation, in conflict, in leadership. When you are not emotionally hooked, you see everything. You see the other person's fear, their desire, their tells. You can offer the calm they crave. You can be the rock in the storm. This creates immense authority. People are drawn to those who are not frantic, who are not desperate. You become the person who cannot be rushed, cannot be panicked, cannot be manipulated. That is real power. Apply this to a modern problem: social media. It is a minefield of emotional triggers, designed to provoke outrage, envy, and instant reaction. The Machiavellian approach is to see it as a game board. Every post, every comment is a move. When you see something designed to anger you, recognize the move. Do not play their game. Your silence, your lack of engagement, is a powerful counter-move. You protect your attention, your most valuable resource. You observe, you gather intelligence, and you log off. Your peace is your priority. This extends to your goals. Machiavelli wrote that the prince must be a lion to frighten the wolves, and a fox to recognize the traps. Your emotions are the wolves. Sometimes you need the lion, inner strength, to face a fear. But more often, you need the fox. The fox does not charge the trap. It walks around it. The emotional trap is the belief that you must fight every battle. The fox in you sees the trap of wasted energy, and it walks away. So what is the result of living this way? It is not a life without feeling. It is a life of profound inner freedom. You are no longer a puppet whose strings are pulled by other people's actions. Your mood, your day, your peace of mind are not held hostage. You have an inner citadel that cannot be breached. This creates deep confidence. People sense it. They know you are different. You are not easily moved. You are not easily swayed. You operate from choice, not chaos. Remember, this is a practice. You will fail. You will get hooked. You will react. That is fine. The moment you realize it, you are back in the game. Just note what happened. What was the trigger? What advisor took over? How can you guard that gate better next time? This is not about perfection. It is about direction. Every time you pause, you win. Every time you choose a strategic response, you strengthen your sovereignty. Now picture the next test. It is coming. A difficult conversation, bad news, a personal attack. You feel that old, familiar surge. The heat, the pressure, the urge to speak, to act, to defend. This is the moment. This is the river of fortune raging. Now you remember. You are the ruler. The advisors are shouting. You thank them for their input, and you retire to your chamber to think. You create that sacred pause. You ask the strategic questions. What is the real goal? What does this person want? What is the most effective move? In that pause, you find a power you never knew, the power of non-reaction. The world sells the idea that strength is loud, fast, and emotional. True strength is quiet, slow, and deliberate. It is the strength of the deep root, not the waving branch. It is the calm in the center of the storm that you create for yourself. That calm is your greatest weapon. It allows you to see what others in their frenzy cannot. So start today. Pick one trigger, just one. Maybe it is interrupting. Maybe it is the need to have the last word. Maybe it is the fear of looking stupid. For the next week, make that your practice ground. When you feel it, pause, breathe. Step back, see the game board. Let the initial wave pass. Then and only then, choose your move. You will be shocked at how different your life looks when you stop starting emotional fires. Let me give you a new scene, a new mental tool: the observer's chair. Imagine in your mind a throne room. In the center is your throne where you rule, but off to the side place a simple chair. This is the observer's chair. When emotions surge before you sit on the throne of decision, first sit in the observer's chair. From there, just watch. Watch the emotion. Watch the situation. Watch yourself wanting to react. This physical separation in your mind creates instant psychological distance. It makes the pause automatic. Another tool is the 10-minute rule. When you feel a strong emotional pull to act, to send that message, to make that call, impose a mandatory 10-minute wait. Set a timer. For those 10 minutes, you are not allowed to do anything about the situation. You can only think, or better yet, do something completely unrelated. The chemical surge of emotion will often subside dramatically in that time. What felt like an emergency at minute 0 feels like a manageable problem at minute 10. This is how you outweight your own biology. Machiavelli's real gift was not a doctrine of evil. It was a doctrine of realism. He forced us to look at human nature without the fairy tales. And when you see it clearly, you see that your own emotional nature is your greatest liability until you learn to master it. Once mastered, it becomes the source of your greatest strength. You are no longer a creature of impulse, blown about by every wind. You become the author of your own fate. This is the path to never being bothered again. Not because nothing bothers you, but because you have built a system that processes bothers into strategy. You have built a mind that sees insults as data, setbacks as terrain, and emotions as fuel. You stop living in the reaction and start living in the response. And the response is always yours to design. So the next time you are about to make that terrible decision, that emotional, reactive, impulsive move, you will see the trap. You will feel the old pull, and then you will smile, because you know something they do not. You are not a pawn on their board. You are the player on your own. And your move is going to be calculated, precise, and powerful. You are about to make a brilliant decision because you have learned to never be bothered again.